Hello guys, welcome to another good video, and we are going to go over, we are moving on, so we are going to go over 6.2 section 6 IPS. We are going to talk about more about IPS, and we are going to go over section 2.0, describe IPS technologies, and we are going to go rules and signatures, detection engines, the trigger actions, um, drop, reset, block, alert, monitor, log, or shown. And we are also going to go over blacklist, static or dynamic. And on the other video, when I went over 6.1, we talked about network-based IPS. And a network-based IPS was the one that is implemented in the network, and the host-based IPS is the one that is installed in your operating system. And you want to have both of them running at the same time because network-based IPS cannot stop a malware if it is encrypted. It cannot do that, but host-based is able to do that because it does it after it is um, encrypted. So you want to have network-based and host-based IPS. Then we went over the modes of deployment. You can do inline. That's whenever the network-based IPS is connected to your network, and span is a whenever you install that IPS in your network and it is sent to a software to be analyzed. When it is software based, it's span, and when it's hardware based, it is tap. And we talk about placements as well, positioning the IPS within the network. We talk about false positive. This is really important to know. So a false positive and false negative, true positives and true negatives. A true positives is whenever we find a malware and we stop it. A true negative is um, when nothing happens. Um, a false positive is whenever we think that we found something, we stop something that is thinking that it's malware, but it was not malware. And a false negative is whenever we do not detect the malware and the malware passed through the host-based network IPS. And then the true negative would be nothing happened and we didn't do anything. That's true negatives. So this is really good for you guys to know. I just wanted to go over and summarize everything I did on that video. So let's go ahead and start with this Describe IPS technologies. And we are going to start over here in this nice slideshow that I put up together for you guys. There we go. Describe IPS technologies, guys. So the first thing that we need to know what signatures are. And signature is a set of rules that an IDS and an IPS use to detect typical intrusive activity such as DOS or denial of service attacks. And you can easily install signatures using an IDS or an IPS management software such as Cisco IDM. And sensors enable you to modify existing signatures and define new ones as well. And signatures has sensors scan network packets. They use signatures to detect known attacks and respond with predefined actions. So if you wanted to either drop it, just drop it and log it, or whatever you want to do, stop it, send an alert, whatever you do, that's going to be the predefined action that you can implement there. And a malicious packet flow has a specific type of activity and signature. And an IDS or an IPS sensor examines the data flowing using many different signatures. So as you can know, like every malware that are out there, worm or anything like that, has its own signature. And whenever we um, are examining the packets, we do it against like a big database of signature. And whenever we find something that looks like one of the signature, then we do an action either to drop it, log it, send an alert, or anything like that. And when an IDS or IPS sensor matches the signature, like I said, with a data flow, the sensor takes action such as logging the event or sending an alarm to ADS, IDS, or IPS management software such as Cisco SDM. So that's what a signature actually does. So now we are going to go over rules and signatures. And the first one that we're going to talk about is the signature-based IDS or IPS. So there's different IDS and IPS that you can have. The first one, or the most common one, is when you have a signature-based IDS. And like I said before, a signature-based approach is usually the starting point of an effective intrusion detection architecture. A signature-based IDS or IPS sensor looks for specific predefined patterns, signatures, in a network. It compares the network traffic to a database of known attacks and triggers an alarm or prevents communication if a match is found. The signature can be based on a single packet or sequence of packets. And new attacks that do not match the signature do not result in detection. And for this reason, the signature database needs to be constantly updated. And this is why it is so important to keep your host-based IPS or your network IPS up to date with the signatures. And you can get that either from Cisco or from whoever your host IPS is. It could be like McAfee or Windows Firewall, whatever it is. And the detection engines, actually, let's just leave that for later. Let's go over um, another way that you can deploy your IDS or IPS is by doing policy-based. And in policy-based systems, the IDS or the IPS sensor is configured based on the network security policy. And you must create the policies using a policy-based IDS or IPS. So we have to actually create them ourselves. If we're not going to use like a signature base, you can implement the policy base, right? And if you are so good at it, you can go ahead and just implement your own policy base. And any traffic detected outside of the policy will generate an alarm or will be dropped. It depends on whatever you want to do. Creating a security policy requires detailed knowledge of the network traffic and is a time-consuming task, and which is why a lot of people use a signature-based instead of policy-based. And another one is an anomaly-based IDS or IPS. Anomaly-based or profile-based signatures typically look for a network traffic that deviates from what is seen as normally, right? For what is seen as normal or normally. The biggest issue with this methodology is that you first must define what normal is, right? So on the network, you have to say that TCP needs to be doing this. This is the normal, um, what normal is for the TCP traffic. If something goes out of that normal traffic or that normal signature that TCP that you have told the network, then what's going to happen is it's going to stop it because it's not doing a normal event. And if during the learning phase, the network is the victim of an attack and you fail to identify it, the anomaly-based IPS will interpret that malicious traffic as normal. And no alarm will be triggered the next time this same attack takes place, which is not really good. So a lot of people do not use anomaly-based IDS or IPS. Like I said before, most of the IDS or IPS are there out there. The way that they deploy this is by using a signature-based IDS or IPS. And some systems have hard-coded definition of normal traffic patterns. And then we have another one, which is reputation-based IPS. And this is a more recent approach to intrusion detection, and it's through the use of reputation-based IPS. This technique uses reputation analysis for various traffic descriptors such as IPS address, URLs, domain name system, and others. These typically translate into reputation filters, sometimes known as whitelist or blacklist, that round up a signature-based system by filtering known malicious sources, destinations, or applications components. Blacklisting is discussed in more detail in the next section that we're going to go over later on. And an example is when you want to whitelist 8.8.8 has a DNS, and 8.8.8, everybody knows that is the DNS server for google.com. And let's go ahead and go back to the detection and signature engines. And a signature engine is a component component of an IDS an IPS sensor that supports a group of signatures that are in a common category. Each engine is customized for the protocol and feels that it is designed to inspect and defines a set of legal parameters that have allowable ranges or sets of values. So if you think about it, engines, signature engines are like a group of engines. So it is like a yeah, like a group of engines that are um, the way that they group them is by a category. And the signature micro engines look for malicious activity in a specific protocol. Signatures can be defined for any of the supported signature micro engines using the parameters offered by the supporting micro engine. Packets are scanned by micro engines that understand the protocols contained in the packet. So this is another way that you can deploy or that you can use your IDS or your IPS is by doing it by running a signature engine, which is I believe some companies are doing this. Um, and what they do is they just get a category. Let's say that at work, if you want to just block all your porn websites, what you could do is you can get a signature engine with a category of like porn, let's say, and then you wanted to block that traffic. What you can do is just get that category for porn websites that you want to block, and you can just blacklist it and do whatever you want to do with them. And then let's go ahead and go into trigger actions, responses, drop, reset, block, alert, monitor, log, or shun. And for IDS and IPS, this applies for both of them. Generation of a loggable message upon detection of a potentially malicious traffic flows. That's what an alert is. It's just like a log. It sends a log to the to the admin, and this is how alerts are used. Is how alerts are used is dependent on the size and complexity of the deployment. Alerts should always be stored in a database so records can be reviewed later for forensic analysis. So if something happens in your network, if there was like a breach, you can always go back to that database and you can review that database for forensic analysis, which a lot of companies have. And a monitor, a trigger, which is another trigger actions, is an IDS is when an IDS may react to suspicious events by concentrating more resources on traffic that is associated with a particular host or between a pair of hosts. For example, it may include a packet captured in the data that is logged. That's what a monitor is. And this is only uh, for IDS does this, which is um, just for identifying. It doesn't protect because the IPS is the one that could do both. IDS can alert and monitor and also protect, and an IDS can only alert and monitor. And the next ones are going to be only IPS technology only. So these trigger actions, like I said, are only for IPS technology. IDS cannot perform this, such as a drop is when packets are determined to have suspicious payload may be dropped by the sensor, preventing the payload from reaching the destination. So whenever the IPS finds a suspicious payload, what it's going to do is going to drop it. An IDS cannot do this. It can only be done by the IPS. And another trigger action that an IPS could do is when it's to reset, and this means it's when a suspicious payload is detected with a TCP connection. The sensor may inject TCP resets to cause the offending TCP connection to be terminated. And like I said, these two cannot be done with IDS, can only be done with IPS technology. And more stuff that, or more trigger actions that an IPS could do is to block. And like we talked about before, a reset only functions with TCP, and attacks may be carried out using other protocols such as UDP and ICMP. Also, it is possible for an attacking system and a compromised host to break the normal rules of TCP and ignore the TCP reset to encounter the IPS reaction. Additional protection can be provided by blocking further traffic. So it is better And by reading this, it is better to just block whenever you find a malicious payload. Just block it right away. Don't do a TCP reset because, like I just described to you, a compromised host can break the normal rules of a TCP and ignore the TCP reset. And a block may be implemented for a particular session or between a particular pair of hosts or for all the traffic that is associated with a single host. And Sean, which is another one, another trigger action for IPS. Like I said, it is not for IDS, it's only for IPS. So some IPS have the ability to request that blocking be performed by other devices in the network. In some deployments, this dynamic blocking between security zones within a network is controlled by the SIEM, and this action is often referred to as shunning. The term originates from the Cisco ASA security appliance command that is used to initiate the requested block. And now we are going to go over Blacklist and some of the capabilities or features of an IPS sensor are intended to protect the network before an attack by controlling access to resources, enforcing policies, and generally hardening the network. Examples of the features that play a role in protecting the network before an attack actually occurs include the following. So there's the way that you could do to protect your network before anything happens, and it is by blacklisting. So if you blacklist um, a URL or something like that, they won't be, or an IP address, they won't be able to carry an attack from that IP address because you already blacklisted it. So it's not going to go through. Um, so we don't have to like detect it or anything like that. So you can blacklist or deny traffic to and from a specific IP address that might pose a danger to your network. To help you build blacklist, the IPS can dynamically download at configurable intervals a collection of IP addresses that have been determined by the Cisco Collective Security Intelligence Team of Telos, and you can go to telosintel.com to have a poor reputation. So you can download that from this website, telosintel.com, and you can implement that or add that to your blacklist from all the intel that they have gathered from this website, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. And blacklisting will block matching traffic regardless of any other characteristics of the traffic. Entries on a blacklist can be manually defined, created dynamically as a response to a rule violation, and maintained dynamically based on a security intelligence service, such as Telos. The opposite of blacklisting is whitelisting. When whitelists are implemented, matching traffic is permitted regardless of whether the IP address in question is blacklisted. So blacklisting and whitelisting can be used in various security solutions, including IPS, email security, web security, and firewall. So I work where I work, we do a lot of blacklisting of domains because we get a lot of spam email. So I have to go into the um, exchange and blacklist whenever we get a spam email, either from Gmail, from people from Africa trying to get money from us, or any other emails that we get. I just go into the website and we blacklist it. And sometimes we don't get emails from people that are trying to reach us. So I go to the exchange and I take a look at it and I see that it is being blocked. And what I do is I just whitelist it so we can get that um, email into our network. And this is it for this video, guys. So let's go ahead and go into the telosintel.com website, which is a really cool website. It's this one right here. And has what you can see right here, you can search the reputation lookup. So you can search domain or whatever you want to um, look up over here, and it's going to tell you if it is if you should blacklist it or anything like that. And as you can see, it also give you a you can see a map right here where spam was found. As you can see, there was 10 spam found over here. So if you can click on it, it can tell you the IP address from where the spam was coming from. And you can see the last day volume and the email type, it was spam. And then you can also click on this other one right here, which is malware, where malware was found. And it tell you where the host name that was coming from. And it also tell you the IP address that it was coming from. And you can see also legitimate email that was found. There was 4 legitimate emails found over here. So this one gives you a lot of data on stuff that is happening, and you can see down here what country is this? It's probably like in some of the African country because they send a lot of emails. You can see there's a lot of spam emails that they were found on this location. There were 49 spam emails. And you can see right here that the average daily spam volume for June 2019 were 459.40 billion spam volume for the month of June alone. That is a lot of data right here. That's a lot of spam emails that they received for the month of June, which is ending soon. And here's the spam volume change from previous month. You can see there is a 25% increase in spam email. So this one, this Telos, which was bought by Cisco. Cisco's taking over everybody. And you can see there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do. There's software, vulnerability information, reputation center, so you can do a IP and domain reputation. Let's go ahead and try to do my domain, ccdgt.com, which is the name of my website, and it just looks up the reputation. You can see that the web reputation is neutral. Email volume, we don't have a email for that. But what you could do is, let's go ahead and go back over here, and let's go ahead and say span, and let's copy this IP address, and let's do a reputation IP, and we can search this IP and see what the reputation for this IP is. And you can see that there is the email volume 6.2. The email reputation is poor, so they're sending a lot of spam emails. Web reputation is neutral. So from this domain, they're sending a lot of, which is this domain right here, they're sending a lot of spam emails. So really, a really cool website that you can use to just look up whenever you get a spam email, you can just search it over here. Or if you have an IP address or the domain name from where the spam email came from, you can see how many spam emails they have sent from that domain name alone. So this is it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and also go ahead and follow me on Twitter at CCNA Daily Tips. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye bye.